yeah, super saturated. Agencies have closed down. The agencies we knew back then, now it's not the same thing. Now, which brings me to this: how then you worked with Terry Mowgli? Of course, you went on to work with the likes of Karl Lagerfeld and man, you name it, all these people. But Terry Mowgli was another very influential, powerful, powerful purpose in your journey. How did that relationship? How did you establish? How did you walk into that kind of relationship with Terry Mowgli? Because he's a very private person. Terry's clothes spoke, right, through movies. He dressed a lot of people, like a lot of the movies back then. Everything you wore before you knew it was in an upcoming movies, and we're gonna go into that. But how did that relationship with you and Terry Mowgli spark?
Well, I have to be honest, man. I don't.
It's very solid.
Yeah.
Is it because he works out? He works out a lot.
You know,
in his past.
He was like that.
He was.
And, before I did get a chance to meet Terry, rest in peace, I love you, brother. I heard things about Terry, that he was an a-hole and this and that. So I'm an asshole sometimes. I don't care about other people's stories. How is that to be with me,
Yeah.
And he was beautiful.
We've all heard those people.
Yeah.
We've all heard of these stories. And when you get with these people, maybe, my wife said, honey, no disrespect, but you're a brother. Ain't nobody want to mess with a brother. even, and I say, you know what, mate? And I get that from a lot of my partners, in my past. I hear so many things about this person, but man, they're the nicest people in the world. And you see the whole dinner table will go. And I'm like, what? Right. So was it like that for you?
When you like, know how it is, man. For me, I think I can't speak for people, but I feel that people understood one thing about me. I'm not about a bunch of games. I come in there. I'm a big guy. I have a lot of things on my mind all the time. When I walk into a room, that comes from the writing as well. I look at every bit in piece because every bit in piece is a whole nother story. That's how I look at things, and I look at people that way. And Terry was just like you just said, straightforward. He was from day one. He was beautiful with me. He shook my hand. He was happy to have me there, and I was humbled to be there. And man, we started doing a couple of shows. Oh, I'll tell you something about that. Two iconic situations that I'll never forget was when we did a major show of all so-called icons at the Cirque d'Hiver in close to Republic in Paris. And James Brown was performing, okay? And it was hilarious. I brought my mother there, right? And so that was back in the time where, like I said, you had to have a little cartridge of film, blah, blah, blah. I said, Ma, we talk, Ma. I said, Ma, don't use all your film. Boy, get your ass out my face, boy. Don't tell me what to do. Okay, Ma.
Bless her. Mom in Paris. Oh,
I said, okay. And so we're back in the back where you have the stalls. The stalls are like for small horses. We all have stalls. And Linda Evangelista had another area, big area behind a big curtain. I didn't walk around. I didn't know anything about that. But as I'm looking at my clothing, my mom comes back to me and she's upset. So now it wasn't about a fashion show for me. I said, Mom, what's going on? I'm ready to swing on somebody. She goes, I opened this curtain and this woman back there really screamed at me and told me to get out. And I said, take me to where it was.
Oh.
So I go over there, which is right next to me. I ripped the thing open. It was Linda and all her entourage.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, who the F screamed at my mother? This is my mother. You got a problem with her? You got a problem? Oh, Vladimir, we didn't know. I said, well, now you know. I said, now you know.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
But check this out.
Iconic. Now that's iconic.
It was. After the show, during the show.
Yeah.
And man, the show was, I had a beautiful suit, everything Terry made for me, shoes, everything, boom.
Yeah.
The show, there was a moment where Elle McPherson, I never met the woman until this time.
Yeah.
We walked out together. She walked out with a small dog. right?
Yeah, I
And I
remember
walk
that.
out. I met her, and you had
Yeah.
cameras all around this and that. And I walk up, and I'm thinking to myself, I hope this dog don't bite me, because I took the little dog and I kissed the dog. Stupid, but I did. And then Elle came and kissed me on my lips, and I had to play the show.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
I played the show, and boom, as I walked backstage, I just like I didn't know what to say. So anyway, after that, after the show, James Brown comes backstage, right? And I'm changing
Yeah.
clothes, and I'm talking. We're all people are conversating this and that, and I see people moving.
Yeah.
Here comes James Brown. Now it was only 3 black people there. Me, my mother, and James.
As
Can you dig
as
it?
it was at that period of
Exactly.
time.
And
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
James walks up, hey, how you doing,
Yeah.
boy? He's talking. I called him James. I said,
Yeah.
James, can you get a picture? This your mama? Of course I can get a picture with your mama. And so that's how he talked. He walks up, and so they all. I mean, it must have been so many people backstage. All these models and actresses from Terry's all those years. It was a big
Yeah.
homage to all the
Yeah.
icons.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so stopped. James Brown's got his lips on my mom's cheek.
Oh.
Check me. I'm trying to take a picture from the camera of a woman that didn't listen and use all the film in the show. So I'm trying to sit here and I'm trying to wind it, and I couldn't get a picture. But James Brown's lips never left my mom's face.
Oh my God.
The most iconic thing was said by yours truly. It was silent. It must have been about 100-something people. I'm trying to get it. I looked at my mom. I said, James. I said, brother, that's a married woman you got your lips on. He cracked up laughing. It roared back there. I hugged him,
Oh my God.
and we never got the shot.
Oh
It
my
was a
goodness.
moment in my life. I said that to James Brown. It was hilarious, man. We all cracked up laughing. But then when he walked away, I said, Mom, I told you, boy, get your ass out my face. It was hilarious.
You know what? Oh man, Vladimir, man, let me tell you something.
It's stuff like that, Oris, that
Wow.
I'll always take with me, man. I love that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing, working with Terry.
Yeah.
I had just did a Gautier show.
Yes.
Massive.
The same period, allegedly, right? It was the same
A
period.
little bit, yeah, around that time.
Yeah.
And Madonna, it was when Madonna was there pushing the carriage, and she took out
Yes.
the dog, that show.
Yes.
And so I'm sitting, and we were just about to go and do the show, and there was like a big wall here, and all on this side was a massive area for makeup. I'm sitting by the door. There was one door, and on that side it was a massive area for hair. Now I don't have hair, and I didn't like a lot of makeup. And I hear John Paul talking to someone as they approached the door, and I kind of like looked over. It's him talking to Madonna. So Madonna goes, "Hey, who's that?" "Oh, that's Vladimir, blah 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 blah." So I kind of turned away, like I got big ears, so I'm kind of like listening. And a week later, I was going to do the Terry Mugler campaign in Hawaii. And I get a call that same day later on from my agent, the same young girl that started with me, Vladimir. Madonna wants you to do her video, bedtime story. Like, damn. And so it was amazing. It was amazing because I was to spend a week, 9 days in Hawaii, and from there go to LA and do the video first, and then after that go 9 days in Hawaii. So I went to do the video, and Madonna, I call her MD. MD wanted me to stay she wanted me to stay. And I said, no, I have to go. She goes, hey, I don't care. I'll pay you whatever amount of money. I'll triple the amount of money that Terry's going to pay you to stay here and party with us. I said, you know what, MD? I said, hey, I make my own money. It's all good. And I left. And so I went to Hawaii, Hilo. And what I didn't know was a couple of days before, Hilo had a massive volcanic eruption. brother, I shot with Beverly Pill. Big up, Beverly. We were standing on active lava flow shooting. You know how it gets black. And I was me being heavy as I walked a little further out. I said, Terry, yeah, go a little further out. I stepped and I cracked through that I cracked through it. And the lava was right there. Man, it was melting our shoes. It was crazy. I got into a big fight because you had a bunch of people on the beach. And the black sand beaches were beautiful. And there was this older lady that was looking after the crew. And these hippies, whatever you call them, they were coming and they were talking very badly to her. And I had on this hand carved leather jacket that was just, I was like this. We didn't eat all day long. I'm 235 pounds. I'm hot. I'm hungry. And now that dog in me snaps. I want to eat, but I don't want to mess up the shoot or the vibe. And I had a real human hair mohawk standing up, expensive stuff. The guy comes over, he's cursing at the woman. Nobody's doing anything. Of course, I have to come to the rescue. I went and said, sir, please, I'm very cordial. I said, back man, F you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then he charges at me. We get into a scuffle. I couldn't move. I'm in this thing. I'm literally like this. Okay. Go to the ground. I get up. He runs into the water. Come on, come on. And me in my rage, I'm running to the water with this brand new hand carved, expensive, $15,000, whatever it was. Hey, and this horsehair mohawk. Check it out, Oris. I go into the water. A wave hits me. That mohawk was like this. And check this out. Here I am trying to safeguard the team. The police were called. The cop comes to me. He goes, sir, thank you for trying to protect everyone, blah, blah, blah. Come back to Paris. Vladimir destroyed the whole shoot, is what was put on my back. Facts.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It was messed up. All these people that did nothing watched me were the first people to point a finger. I was the so-called Judas, you know. I said, whatever. Those are bits and pieces of fashion. You see what I'm saying? Or film or whatever the case. You try to
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah,
something,
yeah.
you try to do something good, but there might be some people that, who knows, closet, don't like you, or whatever the case. But would I do it again? If I had to, I would. Because for me, in my mind of thinking, I'm going to safeguard these people before I think about this clothing.
Mm.
But I have to
And you
say,
could you could easily avoid, and this is the thing about our world, right? There are moments you were sitting there going, damn, should I have just stayed and hang out with Madonna and them guys and them to just partied and just have fun, or and not get myself in this crap? You know what I mean? But then you spiritually, who knew how and what would have went down if you went there? And this is why I have to say you today are successful, and whether you like it or not, are in a happy space, because you and I know, you and I, not many of us from our era, have made it past our age or made it past half a century. So I think when I wake up every morning, like you said, you said something around that earlier on. You woke up today, right? You alive, right? So what is the problem? And that's how I look at my life. I'm up today. I'm alive. And when you look at those, you know, those treasured, iconic, to the heart moments, those stories that you don't even you couldn't even post it. You couldn't even catch it on film. And this is, for me, the best part of our lives, that these are iconic moments I don't wish was on camera. I'm happy they stayed in my heart. I'm happy they're personal to me. You know what I mean? And we've had those moments. I've had those moments, man, that I will go to the grave with. There are some incredible people in my life You know what? And like in everything, right? They say you never kiss and tell. And what that means to me is people that said, you know what, I'll give you extra for this. I'm paying you. I could tell you stories, and it goes down from not just don't kiss and tell, but it goes down to moments like this where people said, um, just so you know, I gave your agent this, but I know you're not gonna get this. Give me your. Here's a check. This is when they had a checkbook. Here's a check. Do not tell your agent that this is for you, because I know how hard you guys work. And I remember a French guy saying to me, a French client, and this has happened to me twice, said to me, um, Oris, he said something. He said something in French, and I didn't understand. His partner was there, and he said, "I'll give you extra because I know how difficult it is for you guys. These jobs are far and in between.
What
Here's
you mean, you
extra."
guys? What you mean, you guys? Because you're black?
Yes, meaning we as a people, the jobs does not come as
He's right.
frequently
He's
as
right.
those are moments in my life that I would forever treasure. I go, damn, that was not necessary. And then that this takes me back to the situation with you in Hawaii. All it took was someone to say, you know what, actually, he saved something. It could have got worse.
Yeah, because the guy was going to hit the woman with a bottle. So I had to.
Exactly.
Come on. Hey,
And that's
what,
the
God?
thing about yeah. And that's the thing about those shoots. So when I said a lot of the fashion world back then, it wasn't guarded. They didn't have security. Like if I was in a movie or a TV shoot, there is security. That guy would never have come too close to me. Man, one of them big boys would have just grabbed a guy like this, it would have just disappeared. Literally. You understand? They would have police on the suit. And that's why a lot of people would they love coming into the film and television world because it's so the money goes a long way on a shoot. Most of the time when people raise money to do a film, you'll be surprised where a lot of that money go. It goes in protecting, feeding. If it's a good production, man, they don't even let anyone get that close to you. You shouldn't even be hungry.
Man, I
You
did
see how,
security
how
for 20
hungry you
years.
were?
I did security for 20 years. 20 years. I had to try to make ends meet when I went to New York, and I was working at the tunnel, the Copacabana. I had to do some things. And man, people don't realize, man, people like you say, and it's good to hear what you're talking about because people, but when I look at you, you're a beautiful guy. You're a so-called darker black man. You are, but me. Now you said you went through some tough times. Think about you're I don't know 6. What are you 6'1" on a good day?
On a good day.
Me
I,
me
I
being
love you.
let
You've
me
been
finish.
polite.
Me being my size,
Yeah.
man, I was huge, man, and I had muscle on top of muscle. Hey, and when I was in L.A. and I got casted to be in a few movies when I did Dirt. Remember Dirt with
Oh,
Courtney
we're
Cox?
going there. We're
Okay,
going there. We're going there. Oh, let it simmer. That's right, audience. Y'all gonna wait. Keep going.
no,
No,
man, but
yeah, go.
it was one of those things. I was in a casting, and I had just did a major casting for what's the name of that workout facility? Not 24-hour fitness. It was another big one. Very nice.
20,
Anyway,
yeah,
which
24-hour fitness.
it
Not
was
that
one
one.
before that. It was a really anyway.
LA,
LA Fitness. No, it was.
LA Fitness or
And
Goals.
this was. I had a major. They called me a couple times,
Yeah.
and so all the casting people knew me and this and that, blah blah blah. So the first time I did it, got my second call back. Now the producers are there. Got my third call back. So this third, 3 times. I'm not gonna change. Third time they want to see me. So what I did was I was dressed, and what set me apart, whatever I guess, is after they were sitting on they had the camera people there, listening, the producers, and everybody was sitting there. I said what I had to say, and then right before I walked out, I ripped my shirt open. I said, "This is what it is. Take it or leave it." And I walked out. That got me the job.
Yeah, because one of the things I love about then, you had to kind of volunteer.
Yeah.
You had to volunteer. I mean, when I got my first TV series, one of the things I did was I went topless and I was doing Tai Chi topless. And I had to, hey man, I had to rise above. Listen, a hustle is a hustle, right? Because you could feel they want to ask you to do something, but they don't know how to politely ask you.
Right.
Right? It's
They
like
can look at me and see that he ain't going for
yeah,
that.
yeah. So they don't know how to react, and you got to understand we were in. This is why I'm talking about the 80s and the 90s a lot. The 80s and the 90s were a lot more. A lot of people like us came from a very unorthodox route.
Look at Wayne. Look at Wale. Remember those guys back
Yeah.
in the day?
Do you understand, right?
Yeah, sure.
Everybody came from an unorthodox route, and they didn't quite know if you were going to stay with them today or you were going to be gone by noon tomorrow because you couldn't afford to pay your rent. And the worst thing in the world is being in a place like Paris, Milan, Germany, Switzerland, and heaven forbid the check ain't coming in. It ain't like you ain't like the average kid that will bring in that endless money where they could
Jason
afford to.
Olive.
The Jason Olive,
Yeah.
The Marcus Shakenberg,
Right, Marcus.
bless him,
Big
man.
Marcus.
You the Vandaloo, you name them, man. You guys salute, man. You guys did it, Papi. All these guys that they work 7 days a week, and sometimes they did what's called showroom. Showroom, ladies and gentlemen, for you guys who don't know, are like muses or certain models. They sit in a showroom sometimes 6 months, sometimes 7 months out of the year, and they just get paid for sitting there, sometimes reading a book.
Explain to your audience what a showroom model does.
So showroom model is, for example, private showing. A couple of people from a different part of the world, buyers would come in to, let's say, the house of, let's go with Terry Mugler or Jean-Paul Gaultier, and they want to buy a certain pieces of acquired items. They don't have time to go sit at the shows. These guys are probably going to open the next Jean-Paul Gaultier store. They want to see how things would work. And it's just 10 of them, food, they sit down, and someone like Vladimir is dressed. He has 5 certain outfits that he would wear and go back and forth. And they're not interested in the model. They're just interested in the fabric. And Vladimir would work all day back and forth, and they say, "Thank you very much." He goes back, he eats, he sits, and he could do this for a month. Now he's making more money,
man.
Than
I never
the
did,
guy.
Unfortunately, but yeah,
more money than the guys who come on a flash this year. They do the Gucci show, they do this show, they come on, boom, gone. Then they struggle, or sometimes they don't. If they are going to university or they're going to school and it's a fun thing for them to do, they go back to their daily lives. But now our agents have put us there because sometimes we owe money. Either hey man, you have to pay this back. So they find ways to put you on a long haul type of job. So it's more like the TV series for models. you're there. The women do it a lot. A lot of the proper models do it a lot. So when you hear the word, so there's supermodels and there are models. And 9 out of 10, the models, they make money. I've seen it. I know.
You can also have, excuse me.
Yeah.
Cut you off. You can also have those super showroom models.
That's right.
And these people, like you said, just to add to what you're saying, I talk about myself. I used to they got to a point where I was, I didn't want to be on the metro and stuff like that. So I would take taxis all the time, which was idiotic because, agency, Vladimir, the taxi. Yeah. Okay. Now, Vladimir wasn't thinking that's accruing on my bill, all of that. So when I got a job and got paid, I'm like, hey, why is 3,000 franc back in the day, was like $400, whatever the case. Why you taking? Well, look at all the taxis. Well, you stayed in the model apartment because I had no place to be, that type of stuff. People don't think about that.
Yeah. So there are certain things that even now that I would advise a lot of people, many people watching this show. This is probably a mega masterclass for you, and a question and answers type of situation that we would give you the answers, especially Vladimir, because we come from an era where we were self-taught. We are what you call today, in today's standard, entrepreneurs. You took risk. We took risk. We come up with concept. We come up with ideas. And that's why I love your relationship with Terry Mowgli and the likes of John Paul Gaultier. And I'm, I see we none of us knew that this thing happened with you. And these are stuff that when you look back, you're like, man, this is insane. But how did that affect your relationship with Terry? Did it let it get to him? Did he felt that he lost money?
No,
How did that affect your relationship?
man, people have thought that a lot. I'm sure that there was beef with some. Beef is the wrong word. That's too hard. Uh, it's not. There was no competition because they have a different style. John Paul, to me, was always people from the street. It was playful. It was chains and wildness. Terry was more of this futuristic lux, with the fragrance with the star. He would have just if you look at the things that he did. Look at the video with George Michael. Uh, the things that Terry would make, futuristic type of stuff. That was more Terry Mugler. John Paul was John Paul was all over the place. He loved rings. He loved tattoos and, like I say, piercings, all of that type of new age type of stuff. And Carl was all lux. Carl Lagerfeld was all lux. Carl was about leather.
What was that with you? Sorry about that. What
No,
was your relationship with Carl? Because you guys worked
Carl.
together.
Yeah, I worked with Carl a few times, and I shot with
Is
his.
he very German, very specific? When I say very German,
Of course,
meaning
yeah.
very BMW, very Mercedes, very boom, 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 boom.
What
You
you're
know them.
basically to your viewers, what you're trying to say is very no nonsense.
Yeah, no nonsense.
Yes, and he
It
was
lasts. It's built to last forever. There's no
exactly,
gimmicks.
and
There is
that's
no
what
trick.
right, and that's good. I'm glad you say that because that's what I loved about the people that I work for. Those three different designers, and I started my career with Dries Van Noten. People,
Okay. Oh, Dries Van Noten. Yes.
so I
Wow.
mean, but John Paul is timeless, Terry's timeless, Karl Lagerfeld's timeless. These are men, and then with women, but these were men where uh, uh, you know them from a jacket or a vest. Uh, Francesco Smalto, same, you know. And so
But
for me,
yeah.
go ahead.
One thing I must say: these were men that also understood women,
Yes,
and they understood men, so they wore two hats.
let me tell you something about that. That's perfect. Thank you to say that.
Yes.
When I did my work, I knew I was going to attract women and men. However, I attracted them. It's not my business. But I never did a job ever in my life where I didn't have what's Vladimir's message in how I move and what I give. To this day, what's my message? If it's for me to stand, first of all, I'm not beautiful, none of that BS. I'm me. Take it how you take it. My message to a woman is to look at this man and possibly want the man that you love to aspire. Now, I might be going through my own personal hell. They don't know that. But if you see me in a beautiful, nice suit, how I move, how I carry the suit, and how the suit carries me, and you want your man to be that way, that's positive. But I used to have, or I tell you some stories. I used to have people come to me and just really just say and do things crazy. We'll touch on that in a minute. But I wanted, man, like I say, I wanted my message to be of a creative at the highest level, uh, a professional, a man, a man. That's me. in all my forms. I'm a man. I'm hard. I'm soft. I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm sensitive. I'm everything. And a woman should want that to be in her man, or a woman should want that to be in her woman if that's her way of life. That was always my message. Don't be fake. Don't like Shaq said, never fake the funk on a nasty dunk. Be real. Don't be fake. Man, and I didn't grow up fake. Like I said, I grew up with the gun and the knife. You can't fake it when you got a bullet coming your direction. So
Our era is crazy. Now, this is where things take a wild turn. Um, Luc Besson, Fifth Element, just changed the trajectory on a whole other level. I like to say some of us didn't have to go to the physical place Hollywood. Hollywood came to us. Um, my wife always say to some of us and our for those of us in the 80s and 90s with Wale, Adewale, Jaimin, all of us, he said, wow, Jaimin Hussein, he said, and you and me and Jimmy John Louis, I mean the list goes on. Actually, wow, those core five. He said, he said, wow, you guys could live anywhere in the world because Hollywood, you guys on a very subliminal level should be studied upon. I said, what do you mean by that, sweetheart? She goes, Hollywood came to you guys. I love the way you lived in LA, you spent time there, but the moment you left or before you even landed in LA, you were always working. They came to you. And I felt with you, you were in the most, because they were casting for Fifth Element for a long time around the world. And there you were in the heart of it all, starring on a very pivotal world, in a very pivotal role. Did that change? How did that change for you? Because you really changed the trajectory of the normal route. How did that work for you?
it's weird, man. That's a good question. Not to sound like I'm some kind of ass. Nothing touches me like that, man. I just it's another aspect of me. I have to keep going. That's the thing about people. Someone I love very much said, "This is all I can do. This is who I am. This is all I can do." I said, "Don't ever say that." You know, we do so much. How can a mother or father go and do this job, go and pay these bills, later on that day go and coach their kid, go and a mother hold it all down, but with her job
And
say
don't complain.
no.
You got to give it to them now. They
Man, I
they
don't know. No, I don't give it to them. I give it all.
give it all to them. Thank you.
I give it
Yeah, you
all.
got they put up with a lot.
Man, what just to jump off topic,
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of this women wanting to be equal to men. We come from you. We can never be equal to you. So stop being equal because you're lowering yourself. Don't do that.
I'm so glad you touched on that. I'm gonna chime in on that with you. I've never understood that. Maybe because I grew up in the African
Politics.
culture, never understood that. And James Brown said it best. So, you blessed you met him face to
This is
face.
a man's
He-
world.
But as a
You're
woman,
nothing without a woman.
and
Or
a woman, so I never understood the equality thing. I'm like, you women can easily go. You're not gonna make it in this world today. Yeah, it's that simple. I'm sorry to go down that road, but I've always seen women as the most powerful figure in the house. When my mom or my aunt said stuff, or my aunties, oh, I was scared to death. They put me straight. Oh, the man was easy. Like, come on. But with a woman, there's just something about mothers. They just had that power, and I see it with my wife, and my son, and my daughter. Man, she just has this thing. She's just silent, and she just says this. And
yeah,
all of a
I
sudden,
grew up. I grew up as a Native American. I grew up.
yeah.
My mom is still there. My mom is tough. My aunties and my grandmothers. I mean, these were slaves. These were, they had looks on their, and these were powerful women. Like I say, I grew up My aunties, they were shamans, and I grew up with that. Um, these were women. You look in their face and don't say nothing. And so, and we as men of color walk into a room, and you got a bunch of women in there. You just close the door because they're probably talking about us anyway. So but I just want. I have three daughters. Okay, and I'm a hard guy. And I tell my girls, I said, you're gonna listen to what I tell you. But even more importantly, I'm going to listen to what you tell me. I'm going to teach you a lot. You don't think because you're my baby, you're not going to teach me a lot? I don't know your world. I can tell you the world that I grew up in, but the world that you're growing up in, I don't know. So I need you to teach me. And what that does to a child, that positively empowers that baby to say, hey, my mom and dad are listening to me. That is so good for their self-worth. It's important.
It's
Now, go ahead.
I see it, and I am learning every day, and I'm enjoying being part of the development. And I like when me and my son, when and my daughter, when I'm taking them to school. I That's the most beautiful moment where I listen to them. I can through them, I know who is who. I know whose parent is doing what. And man, when you listen, the amount of things and the trust they have. And I because the way we grew up was we had no mouthpiece. It was like it was like before you one smack you go flying through the wall. I mean, forget it. You see these kung fu movies, I always laugh. I go, you understand where I'm coming from? But this era, what this is why I love the era we're in, because we come from such a revolutionary state of mind and place. We are sorry. Let me stop this. Take this down. Sorry about that. I'm really really sorry. Yeah. Um. Sorry about that. So, not to get off track. We are so blessed to hear you as a father of three, and me as a father of three. My oldest is she's 21, and my youngest is 19 months. So for and then you have nieces, you have nephews, and then you have brothers and sisters all into that. So I am between the group of people from the 90s, great grandparents alive today, and all the way down to 6 month old kid, and just living through them. And it's the most just listening and having that luxury that our parents, bless them, they never had that luxury to say, let me listen, to the point that you are able to learn from them. And the fact that you praise them, when I say praise, not making them bigger than they are, but being sincere with them, and being praising a child is listening to a child. That's praising a child. The fact that you are able to be still and look at this child like you would look at the man who's saying, tickets please. You understand the same mentality, and they know it and they appreciate it. But it's taken the likes of us to live the life we've lived, to understand it and to change that dimension, to transform that karma, because our karma, where we come from, you understand, it was not to be, it was very harsh. You understand? Mom, dad work all day, they fed up, they're tired, they ain't trying to, they didn't have time, right? Now you and I can take our kids to football. I take my kids to football. We go watch football matches. Are you kidding me? For me,